Tin, 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 tin. Hello, boils and ghouls. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And tonight's tale I call... If you've seen one episode, you should see them all. And you should, kiddies, because tonight my good fiends Jamie and Nelson will be talking everything Tales from the Crypt, from episode to episode, from season to season, from scream to scream.
Hey, this is Jamie Ray sitting here with,
Nelson from Average Home Theater.
and we are in the Average Home Theater, which is far from average. And we are coming to you on a crossover collab episode. This is our third one
Yeah.
where we are discussing Tales from the Crypt, our favorite episodes. Not Fave Fives and not reviews. We're picking some of our favorite
Discussion.
discussions. Yes,
Yeah.
on 3 or 4 of our favorite episodes. So if you've seen one or no, I guess it was just listened to one or
Listen
two.
to 1 and 2, yeah.
Yeah, we have made the decision to come out in video.
We took the leap.
Hope that happens okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
We'll see. If not, we'll just release the audio.
there you go. So first of all, thank you for hosting us here. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
You know how much I love Complete Disarray with Jamie Ray. Now it's Complete Disarray with Jamie Ray and Nelson G. Um, colon Tales from the Crypt, comma season 3.
Okay, we'll go with that.
There you go.
Will that all fit in the title?
Sure, it will. It
Okay.
scrolls
Okay.
while you watch it, but it'll be fine. Um, brought to you by Average Home Theater Reviews. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm going to get that as a tattoo.
I don't have any money though,
Oh,
so
okay.
there's no.
No, but you got some cosmic brownies.
I do. I have Cosmic Brownies and I have Heavenly Hash.
Yeah, Heavenly Hash is fine, but cosmic brownies. Oh. Okay, so what we've decided to do is we sat down with the list of all the episodes for season 3. We decided amongst ourselves who would go first, and we would pick one, and then the other, and back and forth and back and forth. So I don't remember who got first choice,
I don't either.
but
It's
I'm
been
gonna,
a while. It's been over a year we've been
yeah, we've
kind of
been
doing
trying to do
this.
this, and we've actually recorded this episode before. I'll go ahead and say it. It went into the ether. Anyone who knows me is not surprised by that.
But I wanna add something to this. Um, I'm having a Mandela effect. I don't know if I'm misremembering that we recorded it or we didn't record it.
We
Because
did
now
record it.
I'm starting to think maybe we didn't record it.
I, I I'm going off. Well,
I think
let's
we
rephrase
did
this.
though.
We sat down and we discussed it in front of my
Okay.
camera
Okay. Okay.
and my
Okay.
recorder. So I
Okay.
feel certain about that
Oh,
because
we were sitting right here.
yeah, and remember we had a jar of Jiffy peanut butter
Why?
because that's Mandela. That's Jif
Oh,
peanut butter. Yeah,
he's with the dad jokes.
that's okay.
Okay.
No, I was just
So
feeding into the Mandela effect part of it.
so we did do it though.
We did do it,
Okay.
and we had Jiffy peanut butter, and we the Berenstain Bears
Oh, the
were here too.
Berenstain Bears.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. You know, I actually was on one of my very earliest guests appearances was on a show where we talked about the Mandela
Oh,
effect.
really?
Yeah, yeah, and flat Earths and all kinds of stuff. And hey, whatever you want to believe, it's fine.
And I just realized I'm wearing my work shirt.
No,
So
but
let
you're
me
wearing
just,
green.
but it's green. It's St.
It's St.
Patrick's
Patrick's
Day.
Day.
Yeah.
Screen here, screen behind us. Do you want to change?
No, I'm good. We
Okay,
roll.
you
We
are
roll
good. You
with it.
got your green hat too.
Got my
TK
green hat.
44421.
Yep.
44. Yes, look at me. Okay. Well, let's go ahead. You're hosting. Um, let's just get right into what is your first favorite episode
Okay.
from season
Now
3?
I almost started on season 4.
Ah, nope, can't do that.
Okay, season 3. It's the first episode. This season started in 1991, and it's called Loved to Death. And the reason I picked this one was because of Andrew McCarthy, of course.
Mhm.
Um, but also Mariel Hemingway is in it. And she was like a smoke show, for the 90s, man. I mean, I only remember her from one other movie, and
Mhm.
it was Into the Badlands. Have you ever seen that? That's the only other movie I ever saw her in. But anyway, that's why I chose
Okay.
this episode. And Andrew McCarthy plays he's a screenwriter, I think. And it starts off with him writing a script. Well, you don't realize that. You just see him come home from work, and there's Mariel Hemingway, and she's like a trad wife, and she only wants to satisfy him. And after a few minutes, you realize he was just kind of fantasizing as he's
Yeah.
writing
Oh,
his screenplay. But she happens to be a neighbor of his, and she is an actress. So of course he has this huge crush on her, and so he kind of becomes obsessed type
okay.
of thing. And he
With good reason.
right, I mean, she's not only a good looking lady, but she is a an actress that he wants to
He,
work with, but he also likes her.
yeah, he
you know.
wants he wants to write the script for her
Correct.
so that she'll fall in love with him.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So where am I in my oh yeah. So it doesn't take him long to realize that she's not a nice person.
Mhm.
He overhears a phone call, and you start getting the sense, oh, she's kind of a bee, and
Yeah.
she's not really, but he doesn't care. I
Mhm.
mean, he's just so infatuated with her.
Yeah.
So he let's see, where did I go? Oh yeah, so he tries to set up like a date with her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, whatever, like come by for drinks and that type of thing." But she was like just really being quote unquote polite, but she didn't really mean it.
Right.
And so he shows up, and of course she's got a date with he sees her with somebody else going in her apartment. He's disappointed
Oh.
with her. Well, the point of that, you see the landlord watches everything in this building. He's a creepy guy. He has cameras everywhere, and
Ooh.
he can tell that he really likes her. So when Andrew goes to pay his rent, like the next day, like the door just kind of opens, and he's like, okay, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
hello. Walks in, and he sees the landlord for the first time. And that guy, the only thing I had ever seen him in was Gladiator.
Okay.
Um, he was the one that would introduce the
The combatants
the
and stuff. Oh,
combatants, and
okay.
kind of like the let's get ready to rumble guy.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what they would say too.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, way back then,
Mhm.
1,000 years ago. So anyway, he's like, "Hey, you like that girl, huh?" And blah blah blah. Well, he convinces him to take like a love potion, essentially.
Mhm.
And he's like, "I guarantee, this is gonna work." So, without giving too many details, he ends up spiking her drink, and she drinks the potion, okay? And of course she falls in love with him, and but it becomes like way too much.
Yes.
So like she basically, I mean, this is complete disarray, so I don't have to be too
No,
PG,
you no,
right?
you don't have to be. You
Um,
can be R if you want.
okay, well, I'm not gonna be R, but she
PG
basically,
13.
yeah, I'll be
Okay.
PG-13. She just wants to have sex all the time.
Right.
And so she
Poor guy.
basically, I know it's at first it's wonderful, but then after a while, he's just like curled up in the bed. He's like, I can't go anymore, I can't go. So it's kind of like be careful what you wish for type
Right.
of thing.
Because she loves him to death.
Ah, yeah, yeah. So we're
No, I'm
getting
not
there.
saying she loves him to death. I'm saying I love you till death.
Right, she loves him to death.
Or farther, maybe.
Well,
Oh
she's
no.
draining him, and he's basically like, I have nothing left. So anyway, so he goes to the landlord, and
All right.
but now it's just the opposite. It's gotta stop. It's gotta stop. And the landlord says, well, there is no stopping it. There's no antidote, but it's basically it's poison to kill her type of thing.
Oh,
That the
okay.
only way you're gonna get rid of her is you got to stop it. So in his desperation, he does it again. And well, he pours in 2 glasses. And he gets distracted. He turns away when she hands him a glass. Let's have a drink. And of course, he drinks it, and he got the bad glass. So he dies. Well, he's all happy at least. He's, oh, I'm free from her. I'm free. And then here she comes. Oh, there you are. Like her face is all mangled. And it was like a Romeo and Juliet. She saw he was dead, so she jumps out the window. And then so now even in the afterlife, she's there with him.
You could never get
Yeah.
rid of it.
She's loved to death.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I like that episode. It's fun.
So I've watched all of yours as
Hmm.
well. So I remember seeing that one.
And that's one that from, like I said in the previous two episodes that we did, one that I kind of remembered
Yeah.
as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that goes
Which I shouldn't have been watching.
straight into mine. I so remember my first choice from season 3, and it's called Carrion Death.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay. Now this was a fun one by starring Kyle MacLachlan, who of course is from the original Dune, Twin Peaks, and he was the voice of Superman in the Justice League New
And
Frontier
now he's
movie.
in Fallout.
And now he's in Fallout. Did you ever see the Justice League New Frontier?
No.
It's a really cool. It's like the Justice Leagues get formed in the 50s, like
Okay.
after the Korean War type deal. So it's kind of a whole different, but it's really good. Um, so basically, Earl Raymond Diggs, they always have 3 names. It's
Hmm.
played by Kyle. He's a murderer who's recently escaped from prison, and he's running toward the Mexican border.
It's a good episode.
Yeah. He's being pursued. I'm so sorry. He's being pursued by a state
See what we
trooper.
had?
Yeah, yeah, we'll take scholarships and sponsorships
Sponsorships
and
from
just
Sonic.
free food.
Mm.
Mm. So he's being chased by a state trooper played by George De La Hoya, who was in Galactica 1980, which you may have never seen. He was on Nowhere Man and VR5, which were both shows that were on the UPN network that they created and kicked off to have Voyager,
Mm.
so they could have their own. So may not know him very well, but he is pursuing him, and he ends up finally catching up with him and slaps on some handcuffs. But he manages, Kyle McLaughlin's character, to get into a fight with him, pulls a gun, and kills him. But before he dies, the state trooper swallows
The key.
the key. Right. So now he's stuck with this one. So with no other options, he's forced to drag the trooper's corpse through the desert. And of course, there's all kind of critters, stuff out there,
Hmm.
vultures that want to
Yeah, there
come
was a
with it.
vulture that was like just
Hmm.
following him around.
And then at the end, I'm going to spoil it because this thing's been out for, I don't know,
Oh,
40
30
years,
something
30 years.
years. Yeah.
He ends up falling down, and that's the thing that when his collarbone sticks out like this, and he's laying there. Oh.
Yes.
And all I could think of, okay, and I know this is gruesome, but you know where my mind goes, is he couldn't find something to like bash open the guy and just like rip apart and get the key,
Yeah, I mean it's gross to think about, but I guess in
or just step on
that type of situation,
yeah, I would think step on the state trooper's like hand and just crush all of the bones.
that's why you should always carry a
Always
knife.
carry a knife. Yep. Aye,
Yep.
that's not a
That's
knife.
no knife.
That's a knife.
When I was in the police academy, a state trooper told us always have a knife
Hmm.
in case there's cake or you need to stab somebody. So,
Okay, that's that's good. So this was
it's good
directed in
advice.
good advice. This was directed and written by Stephen E. D'Souza, which if that name sounds familiar,
Does.
it's because he did Die Hard, 48 Hours, and Commando. So
Three of them are like my staples growing up.
oh, Commando.
Oh,
Remember when I said, Saul, I was going to kill you last?
I
I
lied.
lied. So there's a great scene in that Commando, right around that time when he's driving that yellow Porsche and it ends up on its.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ever watch it and you go back, it's sitting on this one end, it's been totally crushed, and he pushes it back up and they go to drive off. But when they go to drive off, you can see that side of it and it's completely fine, no crashes whatsoever. And then it drives off, and then later on when he drives up again, it's crashing.
The crash
Yeah,
jam.
so a little continuity. I love that kind of stuff. So this was a fun episode to watch. Not so much fun if you were in it. Kyle is literally dragging through the dirt. But it's great because he carries carries the trooper, but he also pretty much carries the entire episode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it's a really fun, great episode, and it was one of my favorites.
Yeah. I like it. It reminds me, or talking about it, I'm reminded of Megan Fox had a movie, what is it, Till
Yeah,
Death or
just not too long
something,
ago. Yeah,
and
yeah,
she
yeah.
ended up handcuffed to
Mhm.
the body. It just kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's cool. I haven't seen that one, but
It's actually pretty good.
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I,
Yeah.
I'd like to see that servitude that
Oh, no,
she's the
no, it's
robot.
I was talking about Subservience.
Subservience. Bzz, bzz, bzz,
Ooh,
bzz, 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 bzz.
man, that's a
Oh,
good movie.
yeah. I'll order one of those.
Hey, and then I watched one similar to that, Companion.
Oh, okay.
The girl from
I've seen
Yellow
the,
Jackets is in it.
yeah. Oh, that
That was
narrows it
actually
down.
good. The Natalie, young Natalie,
Oh, okay. Okay.
is in this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, why don't we move back over to you and you can give us another of your favorite episodes from season 3.
So this one, it's called The Trap. It's episode 3. So we went one, two, three.
Mm,
Um, and actually four because my next one is anyway. It's called The Trap, and it stars Terry Garr and what's his name? Bruce McGill. And Bruce McGill was the sheriff in My Cousin Vinny.
yeah.
I like him.
He's Perry White.
Who?
No, no, he's not Perry White. Perry White was the district attorney, not the sheriff. I remember you talking about that. Bruce McGill was in MacGyver.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh,
He was like the kind of a on again, off again sidekick. So anyway, please continue.
so and his brother is I didn't write his name down. The guy from City Slickers. What's his name?
Billy Crystal?
No, Bruno Kirby, Billy Crystal's friend
Oh
in
yeah. Okay.
he's Bruce McGill's brother. Um, and he is the coroner.
Okay.
Yeah, he plays the coroner. And anyway, okay, so Bruce McGill, his name is dadgummit, I know I wrote it down. My handwriting is so bad. His name is Lou Paloma,
Luckily you have it printed out in
and his
front of you.
brother is Billy, and Terry Garr's name is Irene. So Lou is married to Irene, and he's abusive. He's just a piece of crap, low life, can't keep a job,
Man.
yada yada yada, right? And of course, Terry Garr is like sweet, and she's Terry Garr.
Hmm.
So anyway, you really don't like Lou, and then he gets this bright idea of faking his death to
Okay.
get insurance money because
Okay.
he's got debt collectors calling, and
Probably
he's
loan shark
loan
guys showing
sharks.
up.
He's just a low life,
People trying to get his green
right?
stamps.
So he basically kind of forces his brother, who is the coroner, to help him fake his death.
Okay.
Who better do that than the coroner, right? He
Hmm.
could pronounce you dead, whatever. So as they're going through this exercise,
Did you know in Louisiana, the coroner at one time, maybe still now, was one of the only non-police people that was authorized to carry an automatic weapon?
I didn't know that, but I do know in Louisiana, he is the only person who can arrest a sheriff.
Oh, okay. Did not know
No
that.
other law enforcement official can arrest a sheriff.
And now you know.
Now you know. And I only know that because I worked for the sheriff's office for 8 years. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh
You
yeah,
were,
yeah, they're helping him fake his death. So
and that's how you derail someone.
through all of this, Bruno and Irene are starting to.
Fall in
There's a
love.
little, yeah, there's a little bit of something going on.
They both hate the guy,
They
so.
both, he's such a turd. They just,
Turd.
it brings them together,
Yes.
ironically, right? The officer or the police chief is
Me?
no,
Oh, okay.
but he's bald.
Oh,
He's the
Kelly
principal,
Savalas.
the principal in Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, whatever his name is. I should know, and I'm
yeah.
ashamed. But anyway, he is the let's see, maybe it's in these notes.
Could be.
No. And that's because Michael J. Fox directed this episode. That's why he's in it.
Oh,
So anyway, long story short, they think they get away with it, right? They have the
okay.
funeral, the whole 9 yards. Well, they convince Lou to go to Brazil or Rio
Yeah,
de
South
anywhere
America.
in South
Yeah.
America. They're like, you need to go lay low for a few months so we can let all this die down. We'll get all the affairs in order, and then you can come back.
Yeah.
So after a few months, living the life, had plastic
Living
surgery.
La Vida Loca.
Yeah, drinking
Pina
margaritas with
coladas.
senoritas.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like
And
that.
he starts to get perturbed because every time he calls, nobody answers the phone.
Okay.
So finally, he runs out of patience. He goes home. Well, when he goes home, Terry Gar answers the door, and she's like, "Who are you?" type of thing. And he's like, "You know who I am? I'm Lou." Well, goes in, they call the police. The police arrest him because he's had plastic surgery. They don't recognize him. He
Right.
keeps claiming that he's Lou, and
But Lou's dead. How can that
right,
be Lou?
Lou and Bruno and Irene are like, he's and even the police chief is like, I can't believe you would come in here and blah blah blah. So,
He was a good man.
so then he gets arrested,
Uh,
okay, because when they were trying to fake the death, they hit him upside the head with a fire poker,
okay.
and his blood was on it. Well, then there's they match that to his and say he was actually
Person
the
who killed
person who killed.
Lou.
So he's on trial for killing himself. And the prosecutor is Michael J. Fox. He's a little
Yeah.
cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, chef's kiss. And of course, because he had plastic surgery,
That's cool.
nobody can ID him.
Hmm.
And then he gets convicted of his own murder.
Wow.
And they live happily ever after. The last scene they show them where he was, and they're getting drinks together.
That's awesome.
They collected his money
Hmm.
and got married, and he went to prison.
That's it.
It's actually a happy ending.
It is. You don't get very many of those.
You know, you don't get very many of them.
No. Oh, that's a great one. I like that. Well, why do you like that one?
Probably because of the cast. Most of the
Mm.
time, it's the cast that does it for
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just one that sticks out that I've always liked, and that's why I picked it.
Yeah. Well, I like that one.
Nothing in particular.
I approve. So it's funny that you say that because the next one that I've chosen also has a really great cast in it. It's called The Reluctant Vampire. It's episode 7 from season 2. And basically, you've got Donald Longtooth, who is played by Malcolm McDowell,
Mm-hmm.
who everybody associates with Clockwork Orange.
Right, right. Which I've
Um,
never seen. Is that like wrong?
no, because it's kind of a
It's
trippy movie.
right, and it's kind of
But what
heavy, huh?
a movie that I would tell you to watch is Time After Time, where he plays H.G. Wells to against David Werner's um, Jack the Ripper.
Oh,
And H.G. Wells has developed a true time
right.
machine, and his friend, who he didn't know was Jack the Ripper, uses it to go forward in time to escape the authorities. So he must do it and follow him. So definitely a good show. But anyway, so he's in there, and he's in Star Trek Generations, and he's in the
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
Halloween from 2007.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's
Oh,
Dr. Loomis.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so anyway, Donald Longtooth is a vampire with a conscience. Okay. He really hates the idea of having to kill mortals. So instead, he works the blood bank and will take a little hit every once in a while.
The
Um,
blood milkshake.
right, and it brings all the boys to the yard, or boys and the ghoul to the yard. So he works as a private security guard at the blood bank, and which is kind of fine. It kind of works for a while, but sometimes he at one point ends up kind of overindulging, and
Mm-hmm.
they realize his boss is George Wendt
Oh yeah.
from what was it, Norm from Cheers,
Cheers. Yeah.
also from House One.
House baby.
Yeah, did I tell you I got to meet Ratzenberger and had him sign my Motel
Yes.
Hell
Yes.
because he
Yes.
was in House Two.
Mhm.
So anyway, when he realizes what's going on, that he's basically being sucked dry.
Ah.
See what I'm doing there?
Ah.
So good. But he said, okay, well, I am going to figure this out. And he does, in fact, manage to track it down. But before he can, Malcolm McDowell falls in love with the girl who works there. Um, and so they end up forming kind of well, we're going to get together and we're going to run away from here. And so as George Wendt is tracking him down, he gets back to his lair, and they end up, I'm not going to super spoil it, but when the police finally arrive, there's a whole like transposition of who is who,
Mm.
and they're able to get away. No, a happy ending. They're able to get away, and Michael Berryman is the vampire hunter. He is the bald, um, crazy looking guy from The Hills Have Eyes, and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that he's in as the vampire hunter. But anyway, really fun episode because Malcolm McDowell plays a character who it's obviously, very powerful as a vampire and stuff, but it's so low key. He he can't even. I'm gonna bite somebody.
He
So
just can't bring
just
himself to
can't bring
do it.
himself to do it.
Like
So
Brad Pitt in Interview with the Vampire, where he couldn't bring himself to do it, and he would like eat the rats and
mhm,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, it was a fun episode. Sandra Dickinson played. She was in Batman 66 as like one of the girls. Paul Gleason, of course, is from The Breakfast Club and Trading Places, and Michael Berryman, like I said, Hills Have Eyes. It was directed by Elliot Silverstein, who did The Car, which is by far one of my favorite movies from the 70s. It's about Satan's car basically running
Hmm.
people down and all that stuff. Really, really, really fun. And it was written by Terry Black, who did Dead Heat. Do you remember that one
You
with Joe?
know, I've been wanting to watch it, but I don't know if I ever have.
It's a fun watch as long as you don't take it very seriously.
Right. Well, I mean,
And
most horror movies you really can't
yeah,
take it
Terry
seriously.
Black actually wrote 5 Tales from the Crypts and 3 Tales from the Crypt Keeper episodes. So he knew what he was doing. So again, I like this one because he's not your average vampire,
Hmm.
and it's kind of great to see a happy ending because you
And
don't
I
see
don't
that very
remember
much.
that one,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I could kind of see why it's not super memorable,
Hmm.
but again, Malcolm McDowell, he's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. So, all right. See you back to you.
Okay. Well, last for me is episode 4, and it's Abracadaver. Um, this one was always a favorite of mine. Um, don't know why. It's just, some episodes just stick out.
It
And
was just magical for you.
it's because I think it's because once again the cast. Bo Bridges,
Hmm.
um, and the other one is this it? Tony Goldwyn.
Oh yeah, he's
He
from what's the
Ghost.
right, the jerk from
He's
Ghost.
the jerk from Ghost. Um, and he plays Carl, and that's his name in Ghost. His name is
Oh,
Carl in Ghost
that's
for
funny.
some reason. I don't, and I watched Ghost a lot when I was a kid. So anyway, so I think that's why this episode kind of sticks out. But Bo Bridges is a doctor. His brother is going through medical school. This is how it kind of starts out. It's like a flashback. It's in black and white.
Yeah.
Their hair is like you could tell it's supposed to be from like the 70s or whatever.
Okay.
Um, and he's gonna help. Bo is gonna. His name is Martin. Is Bo Bridges.
All
So
right.
Martin's gonna help Carl because he's got his kind of like what nurses have clinicals. What do they call it with doctors? Where they're gonna
Like their attendings.
I forget what it's called, but they
Oh.
have to practice doing their
Uh-huh.
doctor stuff. And they
Whoa,
have a
whoa,
con
whoa. Settle down with all the technical
I
terms.
know,
You
man.
know,
It's like
it's just
yeah, this is very layman terms here. Okay. So the is it practicals?
I think
Is that what they
that's
call
what
it?
the nurses.
We'll roll with that.
Let's
I
roll with
mean,
that.
it may not be right,
We'll
but
we'll go and edit the
that's what we'll roll.
Wikipedia page to make sure.
If it's on the internet, it's got to be true. So he's gonna help him, and there's this girl, cadaver, and Carl starts kind of like touching her inappropriately,
Ugh.
and Bo is like, "What are you doing?" And I say, "Bo, Martin, what are you doing? You can't do that. You're not taking this seriously, and this is how you have to do it." So he kind of moves him out the way, and he's about to start, and then the girl just like pops up, and it was a prank. Okay, they scared him. It was his birthday. Okay,
Okay.
well, he has a heart attack. Okay, so it kind of fades as they're like, "Oh, we did get some help in here," or whatever. Present day, Carl is like running a medical research facility thing.
Hmm.
And then you see Martin, who works for him, but he kind of has like a limp in his
He
arm,
had a
doesn't work
stroke
very
or
well. He had
something.
a
Yeah.
stroke, and
Yeah.
so he was a brilliant surgeon, and then he was reduced to working for his brother.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and he kind of never let him forget it. And Carl was like, "You're never gonna let me forget this. It's about time you just move on and whatever." Well, Martin was working on he truly believed that people would live for several minutes or maybe even hours after clinically dead, like the brain.
Okay. Okay.
So he felt that there was a way to suspend and like use that as a way to to save lives.
Okay.
Okay. So
So you could basically kill someone on the table and have a lot longer to work on
to
them.
work on them and then bring them back.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
if a trauma comes in, that type of thing.
Gotcha.
Well, in order to convince his brother, he feels like he's got to make him. So he thinks he has a here he dies, right? Because Martin slipped him a Mickey, basically.
Oh, okay.
Exactly like what happened with Love to Death. He's like, oh, let's have some champagne. Carl has like a heart attack or whatever, and he dies. Well, you're getting a POV shot from here on out, and Carl's voice saying, "I'm not dead, I'm not dead. What are y'all doing?" And they're putting him through the ringer. Like Martin was meeting with people to sell the cadaver. Uh, they even hang him on a meat hook type of thing,
Oh,
and he's like, "No, what are you doing to me?" And then then he falls off of the meat hook, and he's just laying on the floor. And Martin is like, "Yeah, well, sorry about that," talking to him,
because
and
he knows he's still
because
in
he
there.
knows he's still in there, but nobody else does. And you're like, "Man, why is he doing this to him?" Because you don't know exactly what's going on as you're watching it. And he's like, "I'm not dead, I'm not dead," and so then his body gets sold to some people who are going to harvest his body,
Oh, okay.
harvest his body
Organs.
parts, his organs and stuff, and they start to um operate on his head with a saw, and,
Yeah.
zzz, and there's blood. And he's like, "No, no!" And then he wakes up, and they all start laughing at him because they were all in on. Everybody was in on it. He really wasn't hanging on a meat hook. There was a harness and all of that jazz, right?
Uh,
But the whole, more than half the episode, you're like, "Oh my God, what are they doing to him?"
yeah. Yeah.
So he's coming to, and he's finally starting to understand. And Martin's like, "This is what I've been working on. This is what I've been trying to tell you. We're gonna save lives with this." And
Right.
they're all ready to celebrate. And Carl's like, "Yeah, you're right. You're the man." And then all of a sudden, he has a heart attack, and then he dies, right?
Wow.
But
But
then after it fades to black, he comes back. And there's real doctors like, "Oh, poor bastard," type of thing. And they start to really operate on him. And he's like, "No, no, no." And then that's how
he's still in there.
yeah, he's still in there. So he wasn't dead, but everybody thought he was really dead. And then
When he was really
he was
dead.
alive,
Right.
and then he starts getting hacked up.
Wow.
It's a great episode. I like it.
That is a good episode. I like that.
Yep.
That's the good twists.
The
That's the
good
good
twists.
twists.
So that's not a happy ending.
No,
This one
no,
didn't
it's
turn out
not.
happy. But Bo Bridges, I mean, I love Jeff Bridges,
Mhm.
but Bo Bridges is a stud too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true. So, I have his autograph,
Which
Bo
Bo?
Bridges, because he was in that first episode of uh The Outer Limits, the newer version of it.
Oh,
And
okay.
I sent some cards because his son was in it.
Mm.
And so I sent some
Who's
cards
his
to his
son?
son. I don't remember his name, maybe Chad. I'm not positive. But anyway, so I sent them to him and I got them back like a month or so later and I opened it up and there's a letter saying, "I'm sorry this took so long, but I knew I was going to be meeting my dad in a couple of weeks. So I brought the cards and had him sign them too."
Oh,
And I was like, both of them. So he was in that episode, The Sand Kings. But anyway,
I've
so
never seen The Outer Limits.
not even the old ones.
No, none of them.
Wow, there's some really great episodes. Um, the Soldier, you'd probably really like Soldier.
That's the one that they say Terminator's
Terminator's kind of
based
based
off
on.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another one called The Demon with the Glass Hand, which it's about this guy who has a computer for his hand, and he's lost all the fingers, and he has to find the fingers to get them back to. I don't know, good stuff. Good stuff.
All
Um,
good stuff.
so,
Not as good as Body Parts, but
ooh, that's something right there. That's a movie that needs to be remade
it's a
right there.
great movie. We watched it on VHS over
Mhm.
here. That's a great movie.
Okay, so my last choice for season 3 is called Spoiled. Now, you're going to talk about Mariel Hemingway crush. I had a huge crush on Faye Grant because she played Julie Parrish in V,
Oh,
and she was also Rhonda Blake in The Greatest American Hero, which was one of.
G.I. Joe. No, not
Nope,
that one.
nope, no,
Oh,
not
okay.
that one. So it's all about her and her husband, Larry Finkelstein from Dharma and Greg. He was the dad, and Douglas Brackman from LA Law. So her husband is a research doctor, and oddly enough, he is also working on a way to suspend life and then bring him back. Okay. But he does this in such a way that he never gives his wife any attention. And of course, she's beautiful. So he's always down in the lab. He has a little, when he goes down, he flips a switch. This red light comes on outside. I mean, up in the living room. Don't bother me. Don't come down here. I don't want anything. So eventually, she and her friend and her friend is the lady who was on Dinner and a Movie. We've had this conversation
Yeah, on
before. On
TBS.
TBS,
Yeah.
yes. It's the only place I know her from. Her name was Anita Morris. But so she and Anita are talking, and she's like, "Oh my, I never get to do anything. I never get to go anymore. I'm so bored." And she goes, "Well, you ought to get cable TV. There's all kinds of stuff on there." And so
Cable TV.
cable TV. So she tells her husband, he's like, whatever you need, it just don't bother me. So she orders cable TV, and Anthony LaPaglia shows up. He was in From the Earth to the Moon, In Plain Sight. No, I'm sorry. He was Joe Granero. Didn't you see Innocent Blood?
Mm-mm.
Okay, don't ever watch that movie. Um, but he was also on Without a Trace, and
I've heard of
he's
that.
in Dead Heat.
Oh, okay.
So another Dead Heat connection there. But anyway, so she starts watching. He comes and installs it. And he's like a hump. She's just like, oh man. So then she starts watching TV and watching soap operas, and so she starts having these daydreams about the cable repairman. And so she ends up calling him again, and she's like just dressed up in all slinky stuff and whatnot. Very tasteful. Um, and so she gets him up into the bedroom, and then they fool around.
Wow, chicken, wow, wow.
Uh-huh. So then she starts having trouble with the cable, and she has to keep calling him.
Ah,
Okay. So the husband knows nothing about it. He's just so innocent. Well, in the meantime, he actually perfect the solution on this rabbit. And he puts it into him, and the rabbit dies, and then he's able to bring the rabbit back. So it's great for transplants. That's what he really has been doing for. So, the Faye Grant and Anthony Paglia, those two actors, are up on the couch, and they're like making out and everything. Oh, I want your body. No, I want your body. Oh, you're so. And then he comes up with the rabbit and opens the door, and he's like, and then he sees him and he hears him, and it just loses. So he goes back down, and he gets some of the solution, and he comes back up.
oh,
Okay,
both of them?
both of them. And so he brings them down to the lab, and he's doing stuff on them. You don't really see what it is. But then a little while later, you see them, and they're both sitting up on the couch again. And they're like, oh. And he wakes up and he's going, well, hey, guess what? I want to let you know I finally cracked the code, and I've created the serum, and it works. And happened to come in on you guys. And since you both wanted each other's body so much, I decided to help you out. And then the camera pulls back, and he's done a complete head transfer to both of them. And then it's just like,
It
oh,
is like body
it
parts.
is like body parts. And he's
Hmm.
petting the little rabbit the whole time. Oh, it's just a lot of fun. Um,
So why was it called spoiled?
because she got spoiled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because she was like, anything she wanted, just leave me alone.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
anyway, so those are my season 3 favorites. Um, we're halfway through.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, kind of. There's 7 seasons,
7.
right? Yeah, there's
Yeah,
seven
that's right. Oh,
seasons.
that's right. So that when we finish
So
the
we're
other
at
one,
like almost
we're
there.
almost at the apex.
Right. After we record the next one, then we will be over.
Over. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you once again for having us in the not so average home theater,
My pleasure once again.
and I can't wait to do the next one.
Right. And we will do the next one in approximately 3 minutes.
So,
And you'll see it how much further away?
however much you want. I'm like, that's the thing about complete disarrays. They drop whenever we want them to.
Sounds
So,
good.
all right. Well, take care. We'll see you again. And
Adios.
go watch a
Well, since I'm
Let me
editing
see.
this, I'm probably going to cut that part out, and maybe I'll put his actual on top.
Mine's just as good.